gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We'll resume our inquiry now before the Special Parliamentary Committee on Child and Youth Wellbeing. I thank all our officers from the various government department and agency who have been waiting, especially this morning. Director, especially of the Child and Family Services Office. Thank you for being here, Mr. Wab. I think we will have you a first up this afternoon. So, Director, you have two other officers too, so later on you'll introduce them. But as you've been here since the beginning yesterday, it's mainly to for us to update us on the progress of all the issues that we've covered last October in your area as the Director of Office of Child and Family Services, and the things that and the tasks that you all required to do under the Lookout in Beginning Act and all the relevant legislation that you all have oversight. So more particularly, I think some of the questions you are familiar with them already, but just for reminding you again, I think main main concern for us is in the area of the Lookout in Beginning Act. Uh, it was passed in 2015. There was some delay. I think we have explained that last time, but if you could update us on the progress up to now in terms of the implementation and rolling out of the act. Are we in full implementation now, or the uh, act is still in abeyance, or is still, inactive? And secondly, along that line too, the current status of the National and Provincial Child Protection Council. How far are we gone in that respect in terms of getting all the provinces to um, set up the council, and secondly, um, the plan to get all the provinces to set up such council. Um, I think thirdly, in terms of how the provinces are beginning to get into alignment with the act and the work of your office. Perhaps you could update us as well, and then of course there is an issue with the office, its capacity. To what extent you are expanding your offices into the entire country? Whether there, there is the goal, or you're just partnering the provinces to set up capacity, or you will set up your own capacity in the provinces. Uh, and of course, we need update too on the minimum sort of services that we need for children, well, well-being of children, health of children, education of children, nutrition of children. So you have been in attendance since yesterday from the beginning, so you are familiar with the dialogue and task that we're taking all the department to task. So we have our oversight is to all the government department and agencies, but it's equally your task as the principal office or institution responsible for the Lookout in Pignini Act and therefore all the children. So it's equally your task to have oversight and get all the provinces to meet the minimum standard of education, minimum standard of health care for children, minimum standard of nutrition, hygiene, uh, of course, in terms of birth registration, there is no minimum standard. We expect 100%. That's the minimum standard that all the Office of the Civil Registry, they must achieve universal or 100% to your officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, Honorable Posh Pakop, Chair, and members of the. Thank you, Chair. Chair of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Child Wellbeing and Youth, members of the committee, on behalf of the children of this country who are exploited, abused, and left, I want to thank you for the leadership and bringing together all the players on child protection in the country. I want to also acknowledge UNICEF, Save the Children, Child Fund, and all the other important players that has helped the government laws and policies. They are with me here, and I want to acknowledge them. In terms of update, Chair, when I came on the last year in October, I said, I promised to the committee that I will revive National Child and Family Service Council and also have the council roll out into throughout the provinces. Those are the two areas that I emphasized when I first appeared last year. Just to give you update on what the Lugatin Picnic Act, the law carries 6 fundamental institutions. National Child and Family Service Council, Office of Child and Family Services, Provincial Child and Family Service Council, District Child and Family Service Committee, Child Protection Trust Fund, and Family Court. Those are institutions established by the Lugatin Picnic Act. And Chair, when you ask on the update of how the law was implemented, we have established the Office of Child and Family Services with 63 positions created, and we currently have 33 staff on strength, and we have 30 positions need to be funded in terms of institutional establishment. We have came out from the Department for Community Development. We are now operating on our own. We report direct to the Minister for Community Development and Youth, and we are have been given our office space. We used to be operating under a space that was meant to operate as a unit when we were a department when we were under the Department for Community Development. I want to thank Office Allocation Committee. We just got the office space. Currently, we are still operating on the same space that was meant to be to operate as a unit. In order to establish the office to coordinate the other institutions that I have mentioned, the office need to be properly capacitated. And we have done that. We have the structure, but our PE need to be fully funded. With the National Child and Family Service Council, Chair, last time when I came, I told you that the council need to be fully operational, and we've done exactly that. We had 3 meetings with all the council members. Council is now fully functional, and for this year we're supposed to have the first meeting this month, but because our funding were not released, we delayed that to date. We haven't had the first meeting yet. And to roll out the Provincial Child and Family Services Council throughout the country, I want to just tell the committee also that service delivery framework for child protection is the council process, the national council, the provincial council, and the district committee. That provides a framework to address child protection issue in the country because the law is designed in a way that the important players of child protection are brought together through that legislative framework. And in order to address child protection in the country, from the national council to provincial council, the district committee, that must be fully functional. And Chair, we actually wrote letters to all the governors and also provincial administrators before we closed last year. While I'm here, I have the opportunity, I want to commend the governors that have responded and the provincial administration, Honorable President Midubel, Governor of Western Britain, Honorable Wairaba, Western Islands Provincial Governor, Honorable Charlie Benjamin, Governor for Manus, Honorable Tony Wawa, Governor for Sundown, Honorable Gordon Wesley, Governor for Milibe. These four governors have responded to my request to establish a provincial council in their provinces. Chair and members of the committee, because the districts and the provinces is the service delivery framework for their provinces, to start off with the provinces. And we've done exactly that. And when the funds are released to my office, these 5 provinces that I got response will be prioritized as the funds released to Office of Child and Family Services. Yes, what laws we are implementing, I think through this framework, we are looking at fully implementing the Lukan Pinning Act when we establish this Child and Family Services Council. Put some effort on street children program, our children on the street. Governor, we did, sorry, Chair, we did National Street Children Survey across the country. We did for NG, we did Lay, we also did for Mount Hagen and Kokopo. And that is the national report, and we also did for NCD, which we identified 235. But Governor, that 235 is not conclusive. There are more children on the street, and also Office of Child and Family Services want to share with the committee that collecting the data is not the end of the process. We want to do more. We want to trace the family on where the children are coming from, and also we want to find a solution to how we can address this issue in the long term. I think, Chair, I think I'll leave it here. If you have some specific question to be asked, I can respond and my 2 colleagues will help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wab, for that opening remarks. For this, just an highlight on the progress on the provincial, National Child Protection Council. All the members have been appointed, and they've been sworn in, gazetted.
Thank you. Yes, Chair. Yeah. All appointed. Deputy is Deputy Magistrate, Ms. Josephine Kilagi, Deputy Chief Magistrate.
All right.
The Chair is Secretary Ubasi, Department for Community Development.
Okay. And they've had a number of meetings already?
Yes, we had 3 meetings required by law last year, but our first meeting for this year is scheduled this month, but it is delayed because our funds were not released to us yet.
Okay, in the provinces, those 5 provinces that you mentioned, Western Britain, Western Islands, Manus, Sundown, and Milimbe, they've set up or they're in the process?
Governor, that Chair, these are the 5 provinces that
Responded positively.
responded positively with their membership already selected. So
Okay.
we are only waiting to go to the province and induct them and establish the council.
Okay. And in terms of selecting these committee yeah, committee members, council members,
Council members.
this is a responsibility of the, or does the national council appoint them, or the
Yeah.
provinces
Thank you,
select
Chair.
them?
That's stipulated under the section
Yes.
24. I believe it's section 25, subsection there. It has already as a list of members there, which should be form the council. So it's already stipulated under the law.
Or their designation is provided under law?
Yes.
Okay. This is to make sure that they maintain some standard and come with experience.
That's right.
And a background in, working in the child space, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, but you have some timeline as to when at least these 5
Thank you.
provinces can be, their council can be formalized and gazetted. There's some timeline or not?
Chair, timeline was given to all the provinces
Hmm.
to submit. Was end of April, but that's we are going beyond the deadline given to all the provinces. But those ones submitted were given within that deadline.
Yeah.
But we are still open to accept provincial administration governors who submit the expression of interest. The form we actually design a tool because we don't want them to write letters that will give them excuse to delay the process. So we actually design a template for them to just fill it and return it back to us
Yes.
because we want to know their preparedness.
Like a
And
pro forma
yes.
letter. Yes. Okay, very good. So, but now you, the time has lapsed. We are now in April, almost end of the month also. You will like give them another notice, or?
Yeah, Governor, thank you. Sorry, Chair, I need the support from the team here as well, from the committee, because it's sometimes, like for example, Southern Islands, they came to me, said the um, the the provincial administrator signed the form, the deputies and everyone else signed, but they couldn't get the governor's signature on that. Why it's important for governors and political leaders to sign, because it must be a commitment, and
Yes.
there must be resource commitment as well as sustenance of the uh, that council establishment at a provincial level. So we would want all provincial governors to commit so that we go to the province and establish the council.
All right. While we are in the process of setting up the council, how about the capacity in terms of providing service, or at least monitoring and bringing the provinces to be in alignment with minimum requirements to provide for children? You all have a plan for that in terms of building up the capacity? Like, are you all working with the provincial government to assign some officers dedicated to the work of the office, especially monitoring and getting accountability on all those basic things that our committee has been going through? Birth certificate, immunization, nutrition and hygiene, education, uh, access to education at all levels, and of course health specifically for children, but also generally. Have you all sort of started to build the capacity in the provinces, or you all um, leaving it to the provinces, or how can you explain to the committee how you all are operating at this time to discharge the responsibility of the office?
Chair, the establishment of the council brings together key players of child protection at both at the national and the provincial level.
Yeah.
The law is designed in a way that education, health, and other core players of child protection and child development play their role in protecting the children and child development. So, establishment of the council and making the council operational is our key priority, so that the key players in every province must contribute to child protection and child development. So those issues that Chair you just mentioned, we want to promote the need for child protection at the provincial level with the council first. First and foremost is to have the system established. And when it comes to sustenance, Chair, we want to have first, the Office of Child and Family Services is now independent. It's operating outside of the Department for Community Development. And the provincial, in terms of community development and child protection services to be also projected at the provincial level as well. That would be our approach in the establishment of the child and family service at the provincial level. We also want to request for giving prominence to child protection, child and family services, also given the equivalent support at the provincial level with the provincial administration. But Chair, we don't dictate that because we only establish the council and ask the provincial administration to give recognition as institutional reform must also take place at the provincial level. Not just child protection officer, but we want to have unit that must be also created at the provincial level. That would be our request.
To support the child protection officers.
Yes.
So your strategy is to set the council. In the meantime, you're all training child protection officers.
Yes.
At the same time, you're all trying to build some capacity to support the child protection officers, right?
Yes.
So child protection officers, in your opening remarks, how many of you?
Yeah, Governor, we have, Chair, sorry, we have 22 child protection officers, provincial child protection officers.
You have trained?
Or trained, they are gadgeted, but the concern we have for the officers, some of them are aging, we need to train them, and new officers need to take charge. That's our 22 provinces, 22
So
child
you are
protection.
starting with one per province.
Yes.
That's your strategy, yeah.
That's the existing child
Requirement.
protection officers, 22. And 89 of them are district, what do you call them, district development officers, but they perform the function of child protection.
Oh.
And our plan to have about 1,520 volunteers in all the LLGs and wards. So, but in order to get this done, we need to have the council and the committees established, because in order to anchor this and institutionalize this, we need to have those systems at the provincial and the district level to have the committees and the provinces to be established. But yes, like I said, we have existing 22 provincial child protection officers, 89 district CPOs, who are also performing other functions, not only child protection.
CPOs is
Child protection officers.
yeah, child protection officers. You have how many? You have 22, and then you have
89
89
district, yeah,
in the districts.
in the districts.
So this is almost each district in PNG.
Yes,
We have 89 districts, right?
that's right.
Okay, so we've got one each in each province and one each in each
Province.
district.
Districts.
As we speak now,
Yes.
that's a progress from October, or
But the district 89, they are called district community development officers. But they perform child protection. They have delegated power from the Office of Child and Family Services. To
they are
perform.
officers of the Department for Community Development.
That's
Oh.
right.
Are they your officers, or they are officers of other
They are
department or provincial
they are
provincial
they are
government,
sorry, Chair, they are provincial and district offices.
but they have been mandated to
Correct.
act as CPOs.
Correct. We uh, we give delegated power
Yes.
to them by training them, gadget them, and we give them delegated power of the director for them to discharge the powers of the child protection.
Yes. Okay, so um, how are their performance up to now in terms of those in the district and in the province? Are they beginning to start working, doing monitoring, um, providing support to children, or receiving complaints, or dealing with performing the requirement of the law?
Yes, Chair, these child protection officers, both from the provinces and districts, are performing the function of child protection, but they need visibility.
Mm.
That's the part. They need referral support and also visibility at the uh, provincial level. Some of these child protection officers need proper training, which we have done that. We have carried out training with them in selected provinces. Um, yes, Chair, we have all these 89 community development officers not under the structure of the Office of Child and Family Services, but they are in the districts and provinces.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And your plan in the medium to long term is to have, your own officers, child protection officers in the district and the province, or what is your plan? Is to collaborate and work with the
Train them, we gadget them, and we work with them to implement the law. But in terms of human resource capacity, that is very much the demand by the provinces. They report to the provincial administrator, and that's why we have just mentioned that when Office of Child and Family Services become independent, we also want to request our provinces to establish a unit or position equivalent to the community development advisor, so that we we can coordinate the implementation of the law. So we, at the moment, only community development advisor, our CPOs are reported to the community development advisor. So we want to see the function of child protection probably projected at the provincial level and the district level.
what's the ideal that or what do you think we should be aiming for? Should be like you have the provincial council and district council, and then you have provincial district protection officers and provincial child protection officers that answerable to the council, working under the council, having your own capacity, or you prefer, and considering everything, that maybe it's better off, co-opting or multitasking some of the officers in the provincial administration, as you are doing now.
Yeah, sure. I would the child and family services should be probably projected with a unit or division created on its own. That is reflecting the reform that Office of Child and Family Services on its own. And a council should be coordinated by an executive officer or an executive assistant, but the service function must be coordinated by a provincial coordinator on the service at the service level, so that he or she can coordinate effectively on all the wards and districts in the country. So I mean in the provinces.
I think, Director, like perhaps you have to understand your function. Are you a service provider or you are a regulator? As I tried to look at your law, I think Your task is more a regulator.
That's right.
So if you start uh, collaborating or empowering or tasking this provincial, staff, you might compromise your role. Uh, your your office and its function is my understanding. It might be a different understanding uh, on your part, but my understanding as I see the legislation is that your organization is more like a regulator, or it's like a police for protecting our children, ensuring that the government at all levels is providing the services that are essential for children, and also parents, that they are not neglecting their children. And when there is a breakdown, you all are intervene to make sure that the rights and welfare of the child is paramount. They can live with their parents, whichever have the capacity to look after them or best capacity. Um, I'm not sure if your responsibility is to provide services, uh, like going to do the immunization. It's not your responsibility. Going to ensure that there is proper um, nutrition, it's not your responsibility. Going to make sure that they are going to school, or the school is, all the children of school age are going to school, whether early childhood or primary school or secondary school or going to colleges. I don't think it's your responsibility. Your responsibility is to make sure that the government or agencies of state are performing the and providing the services that they are supposed to provide. Like now we had this intense dialogue with national planning. As part of your responsibility too, uh, you have to crack the whip on national planning to make sure that sanitation and water is made available to children at, and whoever is providing services there, Department of Health, PHAO, and likewise at the provincial level. What is your perspective on this?
Jay, I agree with you. We are a regulator. We are a standard giver, and uh, we kind of collaborate or work in partnership to make sure that every child is protected and developed. And I agree with you that we need to improve in the area of regulation and working with the provinces and district in that area. So, Chair, I want to take that as advice.
Protect the child from discrimination, violence, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. So, part of the duty of your office plus your officers, the CPOs, is to bring the parents to account. So, if you are empowering all these provincial administrators or provincial department right down to the district to account. Your CPOs are supposed to monitor and ensure that those basic provisions, minimum standards are provided, and then you all also have a responsibility to monitor the parents. If the parents are neglecting their children, they're in breach of the law. No good nutrition. They are not getting their children to for immunization. Clothes or no clothes or poor clothing, shelter. Their houses are not up to standard, or they have not provided good housing for themselves and their children. Not sending their kids to school. Not taking them to seek medical attention or proper medical care. It's a breach of the law. It's the responsibility of you and your officers. So I'm just highlighting this to uh, emphasize the point that your office and your officers are like policemen and policewomen. You are a regulator, and if you start compromising too much with the service providers, who will be the regulator to make sure that these service providers are providing the service? Let's say in the district you appoint a health officer to be your CPO. And the health officer is to make sure the services of immunization, good nutrition, maybe this type of officers that we mentioned yesterday, the village health,
Ward health attendants.
ward
Assistant.
health attendant or assistants, right? You might appoint this guy, and that guy is got the responsibility to deliver services. So if you appoint that person, who is going to regulate or monitor him to make sure that him or her they are delivering the service? You see the point, huh? So you have to rethink the how you are going to roll out your office and its function into the district and the province. That's what I would like to suggest, though. You agree with this or not? Yeah.
Chair, thank you. We'll take this as advice, the team here, and maybe when we come back to this committee, we should update you on this. But we remain as a regulator. I agree with you on that. But on the service delivery, we need to do more with the provinces and the districts, especially when we establish a council and a committee. So, thank you, Chair.
Chair, thank you. I think your issue is similar to National Council of Women. They should be not delivering the service. They will be the advocate to make sure that the services delivered to women are being delivered. Promise to be delivered, like the Office of Women, Development of Women. They're the one that's supposed to be developing delivering the service. And the National Council of Women should be the one making sure that they are delivering those services to the women. And I think what the chairman is trying to imply is that would be the same role that Council of your council, Child Protection, what do you call it? National
Child Protection
Council should be doing that. And now it's becoming clear to me too that should be your role, because to get staff under your payroll and all these things, they report to a department head, and you don't have it, but you directly report to the minister. And our the government allocation and funding allocation all are provided through a department, and then the department funded all the functions and all this. So through your funding, I think for your council will be separate from the department itself. Am I correct in saying that, or you receive through the department?
Direct funding to Office of Child and Family.
Yeah, that would be direct funding through Office of Child. Okay. My question is, maybe you should I don't know whether you should think about it or you should advocate for. That is, we are protecting children. I mean, your office is to protect children, and one of the we always think about the abuse of children and all these things, but the other issue is the disciplinary part of the children. That's are you guys have any thoughts on this, or what's your thoughts on disciplining children?
Thank you. On first comment on the we as a regulator, we also do maintenance, adoption, some of the services that we also deliver apart from being a regulator alone.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I just want to mention that to the committee.
All right, all right.
Well, on the discipline, we need to understand what is a discipline and what is an abuse. As parents, we have form of disciplining our kids with love and care, but not in a way that the child is physically harmed, in way that or they're psychologically harmed, or in that way. That's where the protection come into force. But we have sometimes it's hard to change the way we our cultural norms and tradition of child care. Some are we discipline our children with love and care, but in some places, in instances where children are abused, are exploited, and that's where the law protect. But we have to see between the differences of abuse and discipline. So when a child is in some way in the area of abuse, physical harm with violence involved, then that's abuse. But we promote child protection by law in terms of children are well protected. How we talk to them must be with respect, a sense of respect to the every child, regardless of gender, ability or disability. Every child should be protected. But that issue comes on most of the time in how we discipline our kids. But I think it should be very much in the area of discipline, in the area of care, than being forced and abusing a child.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm interested more on juvenile. Is that an area that you guys covers? So that's include juveniles too.
My colleague here.
In that age category between 14 and 18, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. In
That's
terms
in
of
China.
juvenile, there's a clear demarcation there. We have the Juvenile Justice Act, and if the child is found to be or comes into conflict with the law, it's referred directly to juvenile justice to be processed. They have their
So,
the Juvenile Justice Act too.
okay, so look at the picnic act is for what age group children?
The age category is from 0 to 18.
That's your
That's in the definition
okay.
under the Lookout and Picnic Act.
Okay, that's good. That's the age category that I'm interested in. Okay, so now we are. It's just another thought that we are facing this youth delinquency, and not all the children are born into good parents' home. Many are born into broken homes and all these things. So parental guidance and love and care are not provided at that age. And you know that our development challenges in the cities, in the villages, we face development, and not many children are born into one father, one mother. So that thought of the parents should be taking care of the children and provide love and comfort and discipline to the children, it's slowly eroding in this society. That's what I think, and it's happening, and I'm seeing at my district level. What I'm thinking is not thinking or trying to see is how can, instead of not providing violent discipline or violent abuse to a child, to a children, but some sort of discipline action that we can cater in Lookout and Picnic Act or Juvenile Act, somewhere that when the family members or a community sees that a particular child is heading in that direction, then they can divert their child to a different direction.
Thank you.
I think before you answer, I think I just want to remind you again in the context of what our committee members mentioned. I draw your attention to Section 8. You all have the powers to bring the parents to account. So if the parents are neglecting or their child are becoming like juvenile or delinquent, going astray, the child protection officer can intervene and summon the parents or take the parents to account, even charge them for neglecting their child. So that's some of the powers that you all have, which will help to prevent, all the children going astray, maybe going into drug abuse or alcohol abuse or engaging in criminal activities. So the parents must be brought to account, and you all have the power. So I think you all can deal with this our committee members' question in the context, instead of waiting to be disciplined. The teachers have to discipline them, and if there's some level of discipline that has to be done, maybe not the corporal punishment, but some sort of discipline, the parents are responsible. Yeah.
There's two approaches to.
Chairman,
Can I ask? Can I answer?
let me quickly say something, then you can. Like, I think just to answer, just to add on before you talk, bro. I think what Germany is saying, the act is far-reaching.
Yeah.
I think like everything else in our country, it's the enforcement of it.
Yeah.
So if there can be some strategy within your office, to have some people trained and to make sure the enforcement is carried out. It's like most of we have very good laws, just lack of enforcement of them is what we lack. I think even in this instance where we now having kids, becoming delinquents, and under the act, we can bring the parents to task.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with the comments that have been made. Definitely, children who were born from the 80s up until now have changed. The discipline, the style of discipline has changed. Basically, because I had during the presentation by I think national planning. You mentioned about parents discipline using kanda and all that. That when we from the former welfare law, the Disabled Wife and Children's Act and the Child Custody Act, when it was replaced by the Lukatim Picking Act, it gave more rights to children, or it focused more on children's rights. Therefore, it's sort of, I'm passing this way, you miss a discipline or picking in here. It gave more emphasis on children's rights. But there is one that is called the positive discipline. And there is an approach that we took when we partnered with UNICEF with a program that's called Positive Parenting. We just developed by, I think, a university in Australia. Yeah. And we started the consultation with UNICEF in 2017. And they were trialed, the program, the positive parenting program was trialed in to the mainstream churches, Lutheran, United Church, and Catholic, and trialed in, I think, 4 provinces were piloted: Medan, Hagen, Morbe, Ley, and there are two more provinces, I think, here. And the positive response, the positive results from that program after the piloting, and that program is it's funded by UNICEF, and we are in the process of institutionalizing that program. Positive Parenting will address that issue of parenting responsibility, discipline. That's part of it. In terms of parents parents neglecting children, their responsibility to take care of children, we have the LPA, the Lukatim Picking Act, which calls for for parents to be responsible. There's also when the cases are reported, they're taken to court using neglect. Yeah. Example, if a single, or if there's a separation and the mother neglects her responsibility to partner the father in raising the child, then the mother is held accountable, and she's taken to court. So the provisions are there. It's these are part of our routine daily duties that we at the national level, because one of the area concern is, Chairman, the transfer of the NCD function. I think you are aware, when we started the consultation in 2019 up until to date, those functions have not been transferred as yet. I understand in last year we had the training of your NCDC child protection officers. We're yet to transfer fully the function, especially the program areas. So those are some of the constraints that we are facing in terms of decentralizing our functions, particularly for NCDC. But for the other provinces, yes, we have CPOs who are there, who are trained in child protection areas. We have the child protection case management system, which is packed with CILAG. We also, thanks to UNICEF, we've partnered in developing that program, which is as a six stage. We have the entry point and the closure of case. So there is a systematic process of addressing child protection cases in the country, which is now parked at CILAG, and our child protection officers around the country are trained and in that particular area on child protection. Thank you.
All right. Now that you, officer, now that you mentioned, these parents being brought to account and held for, like, for example, desetting their child and so on, I just want to give you this perspective too. In my other committee, the GAWA committee, it's been raised that the mothers are being prosecuted even though it's the mother is left because of the violence of the father, abuse, gender-based violence or domestic violence. So I think the question that raised in that respect is that to what extent you all and your officers in the provinces or district liaise with the FSVSU units in the provinces, or now the GBV Secretariat are trying to send up Provincial Secretariat. You all have a sort of a working relationship or MOA or something that you all could work together so that these type of issues don't arise, or otherwise, is it part of your training that we have to tick the box? Why has the mother left the child? It might be the father's fault, and there's some incident here in the city that I know of that as a reason, and the Office of Child Welfare or your officers have gone after the mother, even though the mother has to protect herself. Because the father probably comes to your officers first, give a perspective that mama ya run away, em ko fall want them narablamania, whereas the reality is that it's the man who has been harassing and beating up the mother, so the mother has to live for her own protection. So that's a real problem, yes. Can you just maybe comment on that?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Macario, I didn't introduce him first. He's the National Coordinator on out-of-home care and child protection, so I'll let him explain that.
Chair, I think it was with GBV especially, the Secretariat, it was a bit fragmented in a sense up until it came under the Department of Community Development as a Secretariat. And that working relationship with particularly FSV and GBV has been maintained. When there is a case in terms of GBV cases, they refer to the, when it's particularly relating to a child, because our focus is mainly to the child. That's where the law is. So in terms of the family unit, but obviously GBV mother, there's always a child involved. So when there's a child involved, if you have intimate partner relationship, for example, and if there's no child involved, then it sort of limits us. But yes, in terms of the IPOs, the interim preventive orders and the restraining orders, yes, our office also assists clients to pursue that at the courts. For children who are involved in the GBV cases, they immediately refer to us, and we have that working relationship with our GBVs, particularly in Port Moresby as well as in the major towns and cities as well. But that provinces, like it's how far-reaching we are in terms of the establishment of the GBV. But for child protection, 22 provinces have our CPOs. They are like the director said, they are through the administration, the provincial administration. It's through their setup.
All right, Director and your officers, you all have had the dialogue we had with Justice and all the other agencies. So in terms of dealing with juvenile, what sort of support or work do you all do in terms of partnering Justice and CIS and probation people, officers and so on, in terms of responding and monitoring how the justice system is dealing with juvenile? Do you all have such a program, or Is there some collaboration, or is there a plan that you all will work together? Because it's equally your responsibility, like those who are in care. It up in Bomana, for example, there are juveniles who are in awaiting trials. They are in detention. They have not come to court yet, awaiting trial, or they've been convicted, but they're serving time in the prison. There's some who are sentenced to parole, some who are sent to like Boys Town and in Wewek and Arab Boys Town. Is there some collaboration with you all? Or you all have planned to cooperate with them so you monitor their work? Ensure that the children going through this process are equally protected too. Yes.
Not at this stage, yes, but there are other programs that we get involved with juvenile justice. We are involved with in partnering in other program areas, like other presenters have mentioned that issue of collaboration and sharing of information and data. It's quite a challenging area. So we're territorial.
Maybe it's
so
a capacity capacity issue at this time.
Also, capacity as a major player in that area as well. So and resources as well.
Yeah.
So yes, but I think way forward that we need more collaboration, particularly with the health, juvenile justice. Those are key players. Education. If you can bring you back to ECE policy, the education. So the early childhood education policy that came out, we partnered successfully with the education department in 2019 in the development of that particular program. So it's now housed under education department, but I'm not really sure how they are doing with the actual the trainers, the ECE trainers. They having issues there, and we'll have to find the
area of collaboration.
Thank you.
Okay, can I ask too about this new development that is coming up or has been around for a while, but it's been largely unregulated. This is, maybe only in Port Moresby or mainly in Port Moresby, but I think it's creeping up in other provinces and centers too. That is about orphanages. Director and your officers, can you explain your approach to orphanage? Are they supposed to apply to you all? Do you all have a SOP about orphanages? And do you all go and inspect? Or because, as we all know, there are a number of so-called orphanages in the country already. Some have been existing for a long time. For a long time, there's not been any inspection. There's not been any minimum standard. SOP has not been existence. And we all know, Director and your officers, that children in vulnerable situation, in this type of care, they are always vulnerable and open to abuse. And the world is full of these stories. Even institutions like the church that we trust to be holy people, they've turned out to be, the worst, abusers. So what mechanism you all have in place in order to regulate orphanages, how we can license them, and is there a capacity to inspect? And especially current, we have, all over the city. I am not going to name names, but me as governor here, just talking about the city, I worry sometimes about all these children who are under control of adults. And some of these adults, I suspect them to be, not very decent adults. But I don't have the power to go and check them. Up to now, like for example, for me, as governor in how many 19 years now, I've resisted giving support to these so-called orphanages because Minosawe, like me, Alpimorna, they might abuse these children. I don't want to be caught in that situation where we are contributing to abuse. So I have not supported any orphanages up to now. I'm waiting for the regulation and for the system to be put in place, proper inspection, minimum standards. Are we ready for orphanages or not? Director.
Thank you, Chair. We realize that need for us to actually inspect out-of-home care centers that are in the country, not only NCD but throughout the country. We have developed in partnership with UNICEF standard operating minimum operating procedure on this. Chair, this is a need, especially for Office of Child and Family Services. We also need to build a capacity ourselves to coordinate this, but I agree with you that we need to do more on this. So going forward, we want to have this standard minimum operating standard to be accepted by the council, and then maybe we'll have a workshop to look at how we can implement this. But I agree with you that we need to do more in this area.
Yeah, so up to now it's not regulated yet, and it's not a licensed activity.
Not yet.
Man Mary working nothing. Orphanages. Okay. All right, Director, we should get down to that quickly because I can tell you from my own experience that I've had so many complaints about, some of these facilities, and we try to get our officers to go and investigate, but all Rausimulia, and we don't have powers to go into their private premises. Yeah.
Chair and,
We don't have police powers to.
Chair and members of the committee, we actually we are working in partnership with some of these orphanage centers. And actually, we are working with them in terms of referral, but in terms of regulation, monitoring, working with them, that's the area that we need to improve. But there are some that are working with us. Not all the out-of-home care operators are operating illegally, but there are some are working with us with the Office of Child and Family Services.
Yeah, we must regulate them as soon as possible. Okay, the other question I want to leave to you all too is regarding all this advance in digital technology. A lot of bullying is taking place. Also, young children are accessing social media, including, I would suspect, pornography. Children in the schools are accessing pornography. A lot of children spending time on social media, more time than necessary. They are all getting caught up in all this, what social media, whatever. So, is there a plan soon for you all to start monitoring or collaborating with other agencies of the state, how we are going to regulate that area? In Australia, for example, they've stopped, children below certain age, 15 or something, from accessing maybe mobile phone or I don't know, maybe opening up accounts on social media. Right or wrong, they are taking some steps. Yeah. So, what is your thinking, and how are you all thinking about it? It's an area that is going big already, all over the country. Young people are having access to data, and then they're going to social media without restraint. And PNG too, we have the, what is it? Record, which is not a good record of being one of the countries that have high access to all pornographic sites. So, how are we regulating this, or how are your officers working with the censorship, or working with the ICT department, or how are you all thinking about this?
Chair, we carrying out awareness, but not on a larger scale yet. But we have planned to carry out awareness on online abuse and child protection issues online. We are also working with the Office of the Censorship to protect children online. Our Lukat in Picnic also need to be reviewed when the law was made, when we have these issues were not coming in light. So, Chair, I agree with you. We need to do more also on protecting our children online. Thank you. Yeah.
all the child trafficking is becoming a big problem in other countries. Using online, fake accounts, people are talking nicely to children, setting up appointments for children, and deceiving children to turn up at a particular place, and then they are kidnapped, and then all the problems start with it. This is happening in other country. It could happen, or maybe it's happening already in Papua New Guinea. Apart from bullying and accessing all these pornographic site, there are multi issues that are going on that we need to be careful about, so we can to some extent control it or prevent parents from allowing easy or early access to all these sites. It's a responsibility of parents, but we have to be regulators. So I just want to flag that. I think in terms of bullying, in Fiji, they have a proactive program in which they have anti-bullying as part of the school curriculum. Is there some, thoughts around that your office can work with national department and provincial health board to develop a anti-bullying sort of a curriculum or program in the schools, so the children are raised up to respect each other, not to bully especially, not to be violent. That's equally important for child well-being and raising them in good, positive environment.
Sure. We have plans for carrying out awareness on all issues, especially on the area of online abuse and like issues that we are concerned of. For this year, we have planned especially to carry out awareness in partnership with the provinces and churches, but not the law need to also reflect that. Going forward, we want to review the law also so that it also carries in the law when we review the law. But in terms of program, we have captured that for this year's program on awareness and advocacy. One of them is school. We have agreed to have a plan for all NCD. We started off with NCD on carrying out awareness in all schools in NCD. But we are waiting for funds that not been released, but we already have plans to carry out awareness, including bullying in school, online, and girls protection, all of that. So we have an awareness program that is planned by the office. So we will start off that in NCD and then maybe roll out to the rest of the provinces throughout the country.
Okay, I think my question is basically not really a question, but you mentioned about the review of the Lugar di Pigini Act. Now that's the one. Are you doing it now, or you plan to do, or?
Yes, we.
Oh, who's supposed to do custody? Who's the custodian of that act? You guys.
Yes.
All right. So you should initiate the review of the act. Am I right?
Thank you. Yes.
So we'll get there. Okay. So I think we are now putting you through the chairman. We are putting you on notice to review the Lugati Pigini Act as soon as possible. Okay, when you're doing the review of Pigini Act, these are the things that all other things, your challenges that face in while executing that your office, those and also the things that the committee identify, like the chairman has just mentioned about the orphanage and foster homes, and I want to see how we can capture discipline of children in this act also. Protection is part of discipline is also part of protection, the future of children. So that's one of the things that I would like to see. And also the chairman mentioned about digitization to make that act to be able to protect our children from digital media, digital influence and all this. So those are some of the things that be captured in the review of your plan. Sorry, act. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Member. We did a request to the Constitutional Law Reform Commission to review the law, but that was about 2 or 3 years ago, and I want to promise to the committee here.
They were very busy. Find another department. Department of Justice and Attorney General then.
It's our Office of Child and Family Services will now take the responsibility to follow up and make sure date is identified to actually review the law.
Okay.
So we'll work on that. Yes.
All right. The maybe many of your questions or issues or challenges you are facing while trying to implement this law can be, when you review the act, you can capture that, and then maybe the draft of the act can come before the committee for us to also contribute. Thank you, Chair.
Chairman, I'll just, Chair, sorry, just one quick.
Yes.
Sorry, just one quick statement. It just, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but the orphanage is very important because working with NCDC, GBV section, we put some kids in orphanages, and when NCDC officers went to check on them, they were not allowed. We just wanted to check on them, and they were not allowed in the. Just wanted to check the well-being of those kids. So I think it's important that we bring the orphanages into your control as well. It's very important. Thank you.
Director, I think a lot of things that you all are responsible for and can be raised, some of which we have raised them now. There's a lot of responsibility on your office, so maybe you all should look at all the challenges that you face and then submit a plan to us in terms of budget and capacity building and so on, so we can have a look at it too, so we can help you all to advocate it through the Treasury and Finance. Treasury and Finance and National Planning, they're supposed to come to this inquiry, so I'm not sure they are here, but we will take them to account. There's so many issues, some of which we have just raised, some of it reflected in your act, some are not reflected in your act, like for example, of course your act also cater for children born out of wedlock, but there needs to be some more work in that area, like what are the rights of these children, which clan or they belong to, and what are their rights of inheritance and so on. They might be born out of wedlock, but they belong to two persons come together and created these children. So they must have some rights, including land rights. All this must be clarified too, because nowadays I'm not sure Papua New Guineans are into this marriage thing. They are going to go and formalize marriage. Or, my assumption, and I might be wrong, is that man married nothing lo rot here. Rot married or whatever, fast married or kind married they come up. It's becoming more common, I believe, than the formal statutory marriage or celebrant marriage or customary marriage. Or, man married walking nothing long, like there's no law that regulate those two people living together or being born out, having children born out of wedlock. So what are the rights of these children? Who's going to be responsible for them? These are, really very key issues that we've got to address and incorporate in the law, and then come up with a mechanism, some of which powers you have now, but some maybe the law does not cater for them. We have the same conversation in my other committee too, the Gateway Committee, that these two are also members of that committee, my two members here, that when people are living together and not married, and when the relationship ends, what are the rights of the parties, especially the woman who's come in, have child? should be entitled to property rights or land rights or inheritance rights, but doesn't get any of this right recognized by law. And when maybe the man dies, all the relatives come and take over the house, take over the car, take over the business, take over the land. You plan to marry there. This is a big problem in PNG. So it's a problem for especially women, and also problem for children. What are the rights of these children? They can inherit land or not? They have land rights or not? Born out of wedlock or born out of temporary type of relationship or whatever type. Nowadays people are having a relationship that is not regulated by law. We have the Marriage Act. We still have the Marriage Act. We still have the Marriage Act. We have the Marriage Act, but if everybody is not complying with the Marriage Act, or many people are not complying with the Marriage Act, what happens to the partners and what happens to the children? There's a big vacuum. So I'm just erasing this to show that a lot of issues that we have to cover, and we need to get our act together. Get the office up and running and going. Build up the capacity in the provinces, right down to the district, and start doing the work that you all are legally required to do, so that as we have been advocating our community, give our children a better chance to build a better future than perhaps we have had from the 1975 up to now. Director, thank you. If you have other comments, you
Chairman,
can say so.
One quick.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chairman. I believe there's a NGO. You're at the back. One Talk Counseling Helping Line. They are working with Meta, Facebook, to bring down this online harmful contents. So I think it would be advised if you guys can work closely with them. One Talk, what do they call? One Talk Counseling Helping. So Child Fund is also working with this group.
Yes.
To one of so they are currently in contact with the Facebook people, the TikTok people, to bring down all the all these bad contents for the safety of our children. So, Director, we are supposed to liaise with them and see if you can collaborate and bring this to at least some form of control. Thanks.
All right, Director, any final words you want to say?
Thank you, Chair, for giving us this opportunity. I want to also acknowledge the other partners that are with me. Like one of the concerns that I want to express is the Office of Child and Family Services has been in the systems of government for a long time, and I think your leadership and the team's leadership here has brought us to this attention. We want to do more. And some of these programs, now we are into the second quarter of the year, but our funds were not released to the office. So I just want to mention that, and I have noted the concerns that were raised by the committee, and we will do our very best to address these issues. And first and importantly is to build the Office of Child and Family Services and to establish the National Committee and the Provincial Council. These are our key result areas for this year, and maybe when we meet, we will update you on this. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Director. We have any new officers. Thank you for your contribution today, and
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
please continue to do your work, ramp up your capacity. Please give us a copy of your work plan and for this year and your budget, so we'll help you all to get the treasurer or finance minister to release your funding, so you all can get to do your work. You all may be excused. Do we have any other government department at the back to appear? Pamela, you and your team are here too, huh? Treasurer is here. Oh, very good. right. Good afternoon, our officers from Treasury Department. Perhaps you all introduce yourself, and we can go on with our inquiry this afternoon. Yes.
Thank you, Chairman and committee members. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Napa Hurim. I am the Deputy for Budget and Financial Management. At present, I am Acting Secretary while Secretary is away on duty travel. I am here with 3 of my Assistant Secretaries for the social sector and budget coordination, budget operations. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Urim, thank you, Acting Secretary and the officers. I'm not sure you all appeared in October last year, but the inquiry this time is to update ourselves on and for us to know what progress has been made, Acting Secretary, on since our conversation last year. So I believe you all have been given a list of questions, and I've got a copy of your response here. So maybe Acting Secretary, you can speak on behalf of the Treasury, or your responsible appropriate officer might want to speak on it.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. From October last year to now, Treasury will provide an annual update because the budget process is an annual activity. So if you may allow us, I would like to start with the process that will help us understand the numbers,
Yes.
the mechanisms and the process. So more like starting from maybe question 7 and coming back up to the front. I think if I start on the numbers, it won't make sense if I don't explain the process and what's happening behind the scene.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So every year the budget the budget process is, it does not start in June or July or in September. It starts in January. In January, yeah, of the year. So as soon as we finish, it's an annual cycle. As soon as we finish one budget, we go on to preparing for the next budget in the next calendar year. Our financial year is the calendar year, January to December. In January, while the policy team would do different things, there are different work that is going on behind the scene that culminates in the annual budget that the whole country sees in November of every year. In March, we would publish the final budget outcome for the previous year. In July, we would publish the media economic and fiscal outlook that would give an update on the current year performance. And then in June, July, that would, in August, September, it would, that would be the time when the budget preparation momentum picks up, but it's a whole year thing. As soon as the media estimates are published, each agency would receive towards July, end of July, mid-July, each agency would receive from Treasury and Planning a budget circular calling for budget submissions. That's general, not specific to children and youth, but for everyone across the board. So this circular calls for all agencies to submit their budget bids on what they want to see or what they want to perform or implement in the next financial year. That bid is put through a process. There's a certain deadline given and there's a guidance given. Each agency comes forward, and depending on what they bid for, there are different processes and committees that bid goes through. At the bureaucratic level, there are different teams working to go through and screen and vet the application. At the political level, there are also different committees that vet and screen and pull all of this together until cabinet level and then to Parliament. At the bureaucratic level, each agency's bid is sort of, that's where the detailed and thorough check happens in checking the programs. Where there is no clarity, the agency is called in to provide further information, further explanation, or justify the budget bid. And then it goes from the technical level to what is called a strategic budget committee. That is like the first level of bureaucratic committee that it goes through. From SBC, it goes to CACC, Central Agencies Coordinating Committee, from CACC to Cabinet, and from Cabinet to Parliament. At each level, there are different changes made to the budget, whether to increase the numbers, decrease the numbers, reallocate. All of that decision is depending on revenue. If the revenue forecast says is bigger, the distribution is bigger. It depends mainly on how much we are projecting or expecting to get in the following fiscal year. Once the budget is tabled in November, it is approved. Treasury and Planning will then send out another budget circular to all the agencies, asking them to submit their annual work plans, cash flows, and procurement plans. Procurement plans are required specifically for expenditures that are worth more than 10 million. This is consistent with the procurement laws. Where agencies don't submit this on time in the required time frame, then there is a delay in them receiving their funding. Where they do submit on time, the funds are released. There are sometimes in the allocation of funds, if I step back, in the year where we are formulating the budget, every year, this is an annual thing, that we also conduct quarterly reviews. 4 quarterly reviews are conducted. 2 of those, first and third quarter reviews, are desk reviews, which means the agency submits only the paperwork and we look at it. Planning and Treasury looks at them. The second quarter, which is the media one, that's where all agencies are required to come in and explain their execution rate or performance for the year. Where they have not performed, so we look at how they have performed in implementation, what the challenges were, did they execute according to the work plan they submitted in January, was there any other report, any other incident, or if there is an emergency like COVID or some disaster, natural disaster or something like that happened and we need to adjust, that will be the time we take stock. The second quarter reviews are not really avenues for agencies asking for money, but we find them most times they are asking for extra funds, but it's an avenue for checking performance. We also conduct, where the agencies have projects, PIP funded allocations, they are required to conduct hold PSCs, project steering committee meetings, 4 of them, and where they have like physical infrastructure building, planning officers are required to go out there and inspect, conduct regular monitoring and evaluation exercises. So it's basically giving the background to how the budget process works.
Yeah.
So onto the budget formulation now, in allocation for everyone and specifically for the
Targeted
child
children.
and youth,
Yes.
targeted children. So overall, we are guided by the entire budget itself is allocated by announced policy priorities and also approved policy frameworks. So the MTDP, the medium-term development strategy, the SDGs, all of those, they guide in framing the budget. Of course, within the fiscal framework that is approved by government and accepted. There is only so much we can raise in revenue, and so the resource envelope is limited and there is only so much we can do. We rely on executing agencies to a large extent to execute within the allocated funds, and if there is a challenge, for them to bring it up through the normal budgetary process or to communicate that through the year when they do encounter challenges. So we are basically governed by or guided by the medium term, which medium-term development strategy, which outlines the SPA's strategic priority areas, and then highlighting the deliberate intervention programs that should have been covered by our planning colleagues already. So specific to children and youth, SPA number 11 focus on population, youth, gender development, and then SPA number 3, quality and affordable healthcare, and then SPA number 4, quality education, skilled human capital, which covers most childhood focused services. Those guide us in the allocation of funds. In framing the budget for this year, from October last year, the theme for this year was security with growth, and in the Treasurer's speech on the floor of Parliament, one of the headings was security with growth through investing in human capital. While the 30.9 billion this year was the total budget, the entire, while we have like in, it's broken into sectors and given to different sectors, and not specifically to say children and youth, other sectors are also enabling sectors that support the programs that assist children and youth as well. So if the question is to how much exactly was given specifically for youth and children, there is no direct answer to that, but there are programs that are related to that sector, I would say. So specifically coming to mind is community and culture sector, and then health sector, and then education sector. If you will note in the, while we have given you an extract from the system, the volume 1 document of the national budget, if I can refer you to that, the Treasurer's speech also highlights this, and the volume 1 document of the national budget for this year gives you a sector breakdown, and if I can refer you to that, on page 56 of the document, it gives the sectoral breakup, and at a very high level, I wanted to just point out the 3 sectors that I have pointed out. Community and culture received an increase of 8%, health sector received an increase of 15.8%, and education sector at an increase of 11.3%. In nominal terms, overall, in the sector that received the highest in nominal terms was education sector, close to 5 billion, 4.9 billion to be exact. Yeah. So while it is not specifically for children, it is education sector that covers our youth and children as well. If I come down to agency specific, on the first page of our answer that we wrote in the program, in the community and culture sector, embedded in that sector are the office, our colleagues that presented just now and left just before us, National Office of Child and Family Services and the National Youth Development Authority. In education, we have 2 sectors, the general education, which is covered by Education Department, and higher education, which is covered by DHEST. So we fund those programs. So under DHEST, the higher education sector, mainly on youths, those who are in their teens and upwards, would be the health program, the TESAS program, and all of the universities and technical colleges that we fund directly from the budget. In health, we have specific programs that are for children. There is the vaccines program that's specifically for children, the vaccine program. The others are general medical supplies across the board. We have the malaria and HIV, we have TB, and then overall medical supplies, which takes up the chunk of the budget under health department for commodities, we call them. There's also complementary programs for children and youth, but it's sitting in other agencies, so it's not specifically in these sectors. So if I pick on youth, so if I start from youth and come back to children, for youth, we have the National Youth Development Authority, which is a new creature, and then under that, in recognition of the importance of youth and the growing population in that particular category, in the demography, with there are different programs targeted at them, and while there's a specific allocation for the agency itself, the government has gone out to, within the fiscal envelope and within the fiscal constraints, government has taken out the Urban Youth and Employment Program loan to support the youths in the country. That's basically complementing the formal education system. In the formal education system, they would receive TESA scholarship and health scholarship, but those outside through NCDC could access additional training to equip them to find jobs or get them off the streets. Coming back to the children in the lower age group under general education, all of this, we found teachers take up a big chunk of our payroll. I just wanted to point that out. Payroll for teachers is for this year is 2.5 billion itself. That one category is 2.5 billion. It's for all the teachers. For elementary teachers themselves, out of the 2.5 billion for elementary and early childhood teachers, that's 16.5 million or 16.6 million, 16.6 million in total for early childhood teachers specifically out of the 2.5 billion. Teachers received a 250 million increase from last year's allocation. Just wanted to point that out. Back to the specific for children, the office that just spoke earlier on, they came into existence in 2021, and since then their allocation has fluctuated a bit in line with revenues when the revenue was moving a bit and different priorities from government. Their allocations have fluctuated. Last year they received 3.6 million in total. This year they jumped from 3.6 to 12.5 million, a 9 million increase. And they have and there's two programs specifically related to children in the capital budget for them. It's the two programs are out of home care, and the other one is what it was, but yeah. So one is 5 million and one is 4 million. So they actually have funds there. I note in the report that we have given to you, because it ran on an earlier date, it didn't pick up the amount of funds we've released, but we have released 1.2 million to date already. So one is, sorry, the other one is child protection program.
I think Secretary, they just told us that they have not got their first quarter funding. So
yes, so
it has affected their operation.
Chairman,
but in your record, it's been released. Huh?
It has been released. We just confirmed that.
The director is a Section 32 officer. Huh?
Yes.
So the funds go straight to his office.
They receive cash transfer. So there are two categories. I was coming to that explanation. Yes. The national departments, they receive a warrant and they would access it in the system. The offices, the small offices, they receive cash transfers. Direct. They have operating accounts. The money would go to finance, and finance would do a remittance, a cash remittance to their account for transfer. So
your record shows that their funding has been released.
Yes.
Warrant has been issued to finance.
Finance department.
So maybe the hold up is with finance.
Yes. We will follow up to see where it is at, but we do get the funds out. There are different categories, like community development is a department, and it would receive directly the warrant and it can execute in the system, whereas the Office of Child and Welfare would receive cash remittance, so it would be one step in the middle, go through finance and then to them, whereas community development would just receive a straight warrant.
Really? Okay. Is that a new development, or it's been the practice in the past?
It's standard procedure.
The warrant can go directly to the department?
The warrant can go directly, like the national departments. There are different categories of agencies.
Yeah.
There are national departments, there are statutory authorities,
Yes.
and there are provinces. There's three categories in the budget.
Yes.
The national departments, like education, health department, community development, those in the 200 series, we call them, they would receive a warrant, and that would,
Directly from you all.
from Treasury, we would release the funds. They can see in the IFMS, Integrated Financial Management System, they can see the money in the system, and they can commit through their own process, decide on their priorities, and spend where they need to spend. The second group
Yeah.
receives cash transfers.
Like the Office of
Yes.
Child and Family Services.
And the provinces also receive cash transfers as well.
Through finance.
They would, the money, your national departments don't see the actual cash. They have drawing accounts, and they would write the check. The second group would receive the money through finance department into their operating account. They actually have cash sitting there, so they have a delayed, their money is delayed a little bit. It depends on cash flow every week, and I was coming to that explanation on the delays in the funding. So, Chair, if I may, like the 30, let's take this year's budget, the 30.9 billion budget. We don't have 30.9 billion in the bank account. It's just an estimate.
Yeah.
Every week, Treasury will have to go to the market to raise cash. And so there is the Budget Management Committee, BMC. We raise the funds every week to back all the checks and all the cash transfers and movements that are going in and out of government account. So, for example, Health Department would write a check this week and present the check to the supplier, and the supplier would then bank it, and it's a banking thing. The bank would then do a bank transaction, and they would, at some point in time, they would debit or credit a Waigani public account. Whereas for National Office of Child and Family Services, if Treasury issued, say, 1 million today for them, it will go to Finance Department, and in the weekly cash flow committee, that is BMC, they would program the funds to say, this week we have, for example, we will have 200 million in revenues coming in, and we will, because the need is 500, we will borrow 300. So every week Treasury is in the market borrowing through Treasury bills and bonds to make up the shortfall. So once that cash is in there, Finance would then say we have enough cash, and they would transfer. They will debit WPA and credit the Child Welfare Office, their operating account, the 1 million in cash. Whereas the rest of the national agencies don't see the actual cash, it's just paper movements.
Yeah.
Yep. So it explains some of the delays. We depend on revenues collected by IRC and customs every week, including Finance Department from non-tax revenue, plus the Treasury goes out every week to the market to borrow in Treasury bills and bonds to execute the budget.
All right, Deputy Secretary, I think we've got some ideas already about
Yes.
how you all manage and budget process and so on. What we would like to probably hear from you all, I think you're starting to go there, is focus on the areas that are in the terms of reference of our committee. And our committee is Child and Youth Wellbeing Special Parliamentary Committee. For now, we are focusing on children. Youth, I think it's after 18, being like a teenagers. The law now, I think, while you were, maybe you all were here, I was just on behalf of our committee working out, like it's a bit confusing. Like a child, the law seems to recognize them from 0 to 18, and in PNG when they're 18 they can vote, so then they become teenagers, and maybe the law now seems to be that when they are 35, then they become adult. But there's another law too that some of us has utilize this law. When we are 25, we are qualified to nominate and contest election, national, provincial, local, 25. So there's some confusion in when we become adult. So secretary, acting secretary, it's important for us to sort this out too. Yeah? We have to work out like when we become adults. So then the presumption in becoming adult is that you are able to look after yourself. Maybe 80%. 20% you can still rely on your parents and relatives and so on. That never ends, but at least you are semi-independent. So as it is now, 0 to 18 and still child, 18 to 35, maybe you are teenager and you are youth. But there's also another law which says 18 by 25 you can qualify to run for election. So I won't foul something to you, but I'm just giving you this perspective. So for our committee now, we are focused at this time. Our terms of reference apply to youths too. So at some times we will start holding everybody accountable for the our people between 18 to 35. Me, I think 35 and you lapun penis, but anyway. That aside, we will start inquiring into that, like looking at allocation and how National Youth Development Authority is tracking what used to be the National Youth Commission before, and then all the in our case, and maybe Lay City, we have the Urban Youth Employment Program. I am also writing to all the provinces to on behalf of our committee to update us on all the different platforms that they have developed to offer our young people apart from the formal education. Apart from sending them to school, what are the platforms that they have in enabling our young people to, be supported and have a platform by which they can build their life while they're in school or after school, or those who are not able to go to school especially. So perhaps next part of our inquiry we will focus on that, but right now we are focused on issues like this office that now we've just mentioned, the office of the Child and Family Services, and secondly we are focused on issues like registration, the birth registration, birth registration, immunization, nutrition, education, and health generally. These are sectors that impact our children. So, Acting Secretary and your officers, in terms of those sectors, we have appeared before us the Acting Registrar of the what do you call it?
Civil registry.
Civil Registry, Civil Registry.
Personal identity.
No, Civil Registry, I think. Acting Registrar of the Civil Registry. She came before us, and she has a problem building up capacity, getting a universal or 100% bed registration all around the country. She has that challenge. We also just now, while you were all here already, we have the issue with the Office of the Child and Family Services, not just for this year, but previous years, and of course their plans for the future and how they are going to build up, especially the child protection officers, district, province, maybe national level too. And we also had issue yesterday with the rollout of immunization. in most provinces, they are between 50 to 60%. The target is 95%. I think on record, even NCD, we reached 90%, but last year we dropped down a bit. So the records we're tracking last year to this year, it's not very good. Some provinces like Medang, they are still in the below 40%. They had a bad record in 2025. We draw attention to them, and they've just gone maybe about 5% going up, or 31 to 37 or something like that percent coverage. And with the Deputy Secretary for Health yesterday, Mr. Ken Wai, I noticed that there is an allocation here that it's in your report about the Child Nutrition and Social Protection Project target. But what they relayed to us yesterday was that I think there is a review on the nutrition policy or something like that, strategy. A nutrition survey, yeah. It's not been done for last maybe 11 years or so. So 15 years, yeah, 15 years, yeah. So Secretary and Acting Secretary and the officers, these are very telling factors that impacts children and their development and their well-being in order to prepare them to go to teenage and adult. And nutrition is very critical to mental and physical development. Some parents might be physically small now, but if the children are given proper nutrition, all can go big plum and Maria. And I've just come back from China. Last week we were in China, and if you look at the Chinese, history, you would find that in the 50s and 60s, also plumb line here. But with the improved nutrition, now they're tall and big and getting smarter. They're advancing the world in terms of IT and AI and all this development because it starts from these basic things. So yesterday I reminded everyone to, just to put a light side to it. Prime Minister has this, grand plan to, ever save this NRL team called the Chiefs. But we've got a problem with stunning, and 44% of our children are, affected by stunning and malnutrition. And nutrition is poor, so how by me beating all this line in the NRL? It might be a pipe dream. So these are the areas we are focused on. To that part, I just highlighting the, one of the impact that we are trying to have for the future. But with the poor nutrition, and by none of you, we have 2050 vision. I think it tells us to be happy, healthy, smart, and wise. So this smartness we can only get there too with good nutrition. So maybe Secretary and your team, you all might want to focus on those areas. Most of the questions you all have addressed them in the written submission already. So we will capture them in our report. But if you could highlight, if you can, those areas like site nutrition, is there increased funding or not? And why is problem issues like the survey on a nutrition survey not done for the last 15 years? Is it the problem of the Department of Health, or maybe you all did not fund it or put it a priority? So if you all can address that. And immunization, is the increasing funding is consistent or is increased, or maybe funding is consistent and increased, but the PHA are not doing their part. They're not conducting the clinics, going out to do the immunization. And that of course affect the health of our children too. Now polio is coming back. Well, not everywhere, but some parts of our country, there's we eliminate polio in year 2000. But polio as you know, recently re-emerged. So, those of us who have been vaccinated before, we won't be at risk. But our children now, they might be at risk of polio and I think leprosy too. I think there is some instance of maybe, did we eliminate the leprosy too? Or?
Yeah.
We eliminate leprosy, yeah? But it's making a comeback. So immunization will protect us. Those of us who have immunized will be protected, but now the urgency is on our children. So this is why we are highlighting this as far as our committee is concerned. Maybe Secretary and your team, you could highlight those areas. Huh?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe I start with the vaccine. So this year's allocation for vaccines was is 26 million, as an increase of 7 million from last year's allocation.
Very good.
Now we try our very best to allocate to vaccines in recognition of the importance role that vaccines play. You will also note in the budget documents that this year we also allocated for is it HPV, particularly for HPV
Yes.
vaccine. So that's a new one that we included. That's 6.2 million. That's a new introduction. So girls in that age group can be vaccinated at early at that stage. In terms of the survey, Chair, we depend largely on the budget bid that is put forward by the respective sector that handles this. So if it is a priority to health,
Yeah.
they would flag that. Now in the health bid, you will note that the one line that receives the highest amount is medical supplies. This
Yeah.
year it stands at 264 million. That's one line for medical supplies for everybody. So if they sort of focus on the medical supplies and the TB, the TB medical supplies generally is one line, and then TB medicine is one line, and then vaccines is another line, and then malaria and HIV is another line. We have a global fund and others, mainly global fund, supporting us on TB and malaria, and we've been working very hard to improve the process so we can benefit from some of the funding that they do access for us. However, we both planning and treasury would depend on the bid from health department. Yes, if they say this is a priority and they write it up front and they make the presentation that this is priority for us, we would like this survey to be done and highlight it up front, then it would be given the prominence it needs to be given. If it is somewhere down the line and they put their big ticket items up front, it shows to us their order of priority and they do give to us. So we've tried to improve the give them a bit of a hands-on and guide them, and in the last few years we've been interacting with health departments basically at officer level more to help them preparing their budget bids coming to treasury and planning. So we've seen an improvement, but with the survey thing, it's not featured in their budget bid.
It's not
as
their
a-
priority because 15 years we have been, not done the survey again. So maybe I think Secretary, if you all could take note of it and
Yes,
work with the
Health
department. We have impressed on Mr. Y yesterday that he should prioritize it. Because
of course.
again, like we can acknowledge what they're trying to do in terms of getting medical supplies a priority, dealing with all this infection and common disease, malaria, TB, and so on. But I think Secretary and your team, you can see that it lopsided towards creative health. We are not doing much or balancing it with primary health or preventive health. And you can see we are spending all this money on medicine, on doctors, on equipment, on building clinics, and you name it, up to level 6 and level 5 and 6 hospital. But is the health of our people improving? As the length of life or longevity of our people improving, or you can see it's still stuck at 65% or 65 years or something like that. So we have to start rethink this, and I know you all in the Treasury, you have to do some monitoring yourself because you want to see impact out of the funds that you all allocate and come to the budget, but it's the responsibility also of the line department and national planning. National planning is called National Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation. Those are the ones who should be having oversight over all the departments, all the provinces, keep a tracking on how everybody is faring and what needs to be ramped up. And then they will assist you all. So I just want to make that comment. So please continue, I think, with the nutrition survey. I think for our committee, we want to see priority given to that nutrition survey, and not just the survey, but improve nutrition. I think, Secretary, you look around Mosby here. All the children here, not far, just here at Hot Strip. Mothers are selling them, Coca-Cola and twisties and, noodles and on the road. The schools are not even stopping them. So Secretary, when he came yesterday, he's trying to, ECE, the early childhood, they are trying to introduce also the school feeding. Or when the kids come to school, they have some meals. I said, okay, but what sort of meals? Not noodles. You all have to come up with some nutritious, food. Otherwise, you leave it to the community. They might do, fast, give him Maggi noodles and Maggi cube. You go inside and give him all picnic. I don't think it's a very nutritious food. Maybe I'm not trying to advocate against noodles. They should start to improve like their sort of a nutritious value of their food. But it's time. I don't think many of these processed food are very nutritious. I hope they can promote like our traditional food like vegetables, and we solved it already, but now we are so engaged or indulging with processed food. So it's really being a risk to our children and to their health. So anyway, Secretary, Acting Secretary, maybe you all have covered immunization, nutrition. What else we can? Is there specific program or funding allocated to stunning and malnutrition as a particular item of its own in the Department of Health or the PHA?
Not specifically to stunting,
Yeah.
but it's a general nutrition programs.
Yeah.
Chair, if I may, earlier on you raised PHAs as executing agencies, and so just from the budget perspective and preparation process, while we do quarterly reports and each agency is required to report to us on where they spend their money, data is one thing that helps us to make a recommendation on the appropriate level of funding. So the reporting, while they are reporting, the reporting on the components need to be improved for better coordination. If we do get data on where the PHAs are spending money and their expenditures, instead of just goods and services we spend this, and salaries and wages we spend this, and on these PIP programs, it would be good to see
Detail, specific.
a little bit more detailed expenditure and better coordination between PHAs and health department themselves, so the priorities are clearly emphasized when the budget bids come forward. Chair, if I may, there are different agencies working on different aspects of child welfare. There's the law and justice sector, then there's education, then there's health.
Health.
At the present, coordinate efforts in health sector department here and education income here and the law and justice sector coming here. At present, they all have different programs, but targeted at the same group of people. So we have to go through each of them, each of the different sectors to see where the alignment is to categorize them and then fund. So while the budget process itself is another factor where priorities change at the emphasis, not the priorities, but the emphasis changes at different levels going upwards. I think better coordination also amongst the different agencies involved in child welfare would also help. And on the implementation side, coming back to us is better detailed information on how many children, like basic statistics. When the census was not done, we struggled with the information on how many people we were budgeting for when the census data was not out yet. So something like that, giving us basic information on how many children are born in a hospital, the different challenges, how much a hospital or PHA spends on children, immunization, or the children programs in nutrition or stuff like that. That kind of information helps a little bit in shifting the emphasis and the weight of budgeting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Secretary. We'll try to capture that in our recommendation. It's a very valid point. All the agencies, department must, coordinate so that and then try to be specific as possible. I think on our part, all the minimum standards, we will try to make sure that everybody caters for it, like nutrition, immunization, what else? Registration, and all the other education and health, and perhaps now we can address WASH. We had a very intense session with Mr. Richard Tanda. So this morning, so we can see that there's no progress from 2025 to now. They're still going around in Sectoral in terms of setting up this authority that going to manage this WASH program. And he indicated again, he did not give any specific, but he said last year they had 20 million, not a lot of money, but he did not give us any indication how they spend the money. And this year, I can see in your report here submitted to us that you all have allocated 47 million, but he told us that we only allocated another 20 million. So I'm not sure who is correct here. We have to check the budget books. But nevertheless, the situation seems to be that we've been planning since 2018. WASH program was launched when then Peter O'Neill was the Prime Minister. So that's around 2017 or 2018. He lost the office in 2019. So that program was launched, but up to now they're still trying to put this. What's the authority they're trying to put?
National Wash Authority.
Yeah, National Water and Sanitation Authority. Yeah. They're trying to put that like as the authority to manage and regulate this funding and these services. So, and in the meantime, everybody said the law says to how this money is being used. Is there a committee that determines all the application and what are the criteria? I don't think the public know, and they were not able to help us too because they're still planning this legislation, going for review. Consultant still going to come back. So it's not your problem. It's a problem of national planning. It's also our concern that why is the WASH packed with national planning? Shouldn't it be with maybe health department or water PNG or something like that? But national planning now this morning, like in October, they said that they have to, there are so many issues. Huh?
Yeah, nurturing it. So when it's
In nurturing it, or there's so many issues they have to manage before they create it and then park it in whatever appropriate department or becoming a standalone agency. So how is the budget or allocation for WASH all over this year's since maybe 2018? You all could give us some idea if you can. But I can see that if allocation this year is 47 million, that's already doubling the amount. So there should not be any excuse now. And water and sanitation is important for children.
May I add or contribute to that discussion? They said that they're waiting for CACC to give them
Clearance.
some sort of certificate or clearance for them to set up this authority. I don't know whether you guys are aware of that. They want to create a separate authority, WASH authority. So their hold up was with Treasury Department. One certification has to come from the Treasury. Certificate of what? Certificate of pursuance should come from Treasury, and that's one of the hold up. The other part is they're working on the legislation, still working on the legislation for about last 10 years or so. So these because WASH is an important part of children welfare at a community level. So they're using this. They want to create this entity. They're using it as a what do you call? Like some sort of thing like blockades for them to deliver the WASH program. So if you can find out from the department and see how we can help them, or should they create an authority or entity, a separate entity? I mean, see, because they see that the treasury, but they also see that the decision making.
Anyway, Deputy Acting Secretary, I think you all understand our concern. There's no progress here with WASH. It's probably parked in the wrong car park. So that's why it's not functioning. And they told us today that they only got 20 million, same as last year. So they say it's not a lot of money, but I can see your report here. You've doubled the allocation. So can you confirm like the allocation?
Filter must have picked up the non-Go PNG component as well. So we will reconfirm that it should be 20 million as per FAS standard has pointed out. It's the program. Yeah, the program is sitting under planning department, and actually we need to coordinate. We admit that we need to coordinate on this. We have not received an update on where they are at, on what is happening, because their planning is in charge of the PIP budget. They allocate, when they split the budget, they allocate based on their work program and the priority, because each agency has to bid, and this program is under planning. They've put aside that amount of money in there, but we are yet to see progress on this one. There is on the national government side, from Treasury's perspective, there is the loan from the Wellbeing and on WASH itself, and focusing on water and sanitation. So there's actually two. One is the WASH loan itself, and the other one is a new one that is still just going through the process, the WaterWise one. So that's in recognition of the overall water and sanitation program that affects not only children but everyone else as well. So it's a program that is co-funded by the World Bank and the EIB, European Investment Bank. The Treasury is pursuing as well on the loan side. But this other program that is sitting within Department of National Planning, that needs to be advanced and work needs to be done. So it's within planning's area to answer what the challenges they are facing and why it is not progressing at the speed we would like it to see it move.
Sorry, Chair. That's thank you. At least we highlighted for you guys. The other concern we have is with regard to, because I think you guys have budgeted or funded, approved the early childhood teachers pay. Yeah, that's something that we have been pushing, and we are really appreciative that that has been on. That's part of children welfare. The other one is the ward health assistant or village health assistant.
Village health assistant.
That is something that the health department is pursuing, but they couldn't get anywhere. I mean, they went up as far as CAC or NEC, but because of budget or something, and they came back. So
maybe a member. I'm not sure if it's budget. I think they're still in the process of finalizing the policy or something like that. Or look, yeah. Yes.
yeah,
Thank you, Chair. Great point raised there. At the budget level, I mean, health has not made that. Again, it comes like with the survey. They have not pointed out as a priority in the budget process, so we have not been aware of that. They have taken it outside of the budget process and come to CACC, and that's where it has stopped. If it came through the budget, we would have seen it. I just wanted to point out that the other priority on recording child, the priority or the discussions have been focusing on the village recorder, the ward recorders, and getting them those books to record every birth and so forth. So I think that's the only one that has been featured in the budget discussions so far at the village level and at the subnational level.
That's from which department?
The ward recorder?
Department of
DPLGA.
DPLG. Okay.
DPLGA.
So these two are different, the health and
Yes.
yeah.
So DPLGA has been pushing for this, and they feature prominently in the budget, the ward recorders and the ward recorder book. So each birth or every activity in the village is captured in that book. It's a new initiative.
Then, Acting Secretary, we must make sure that this village recorder probably is multitasker. Because if it's just going to be a village recorder working with LLG or with
council,
with the provincial administration or department for provincial and local level government, we have a tendency where the government department not sharing data. So, for example, the civil registry or what's their formal title? Yeah. Yes. They have a problem working with the Department of Health, because Department of Health want to, for confidentiality, or maybe some other reason, they are not giving them data, especially vets certificate or registration or data. So then they are faced with whether they've got to build their own capacity. It'll be, I think, duplication. So if you all, where you all are, you have leverage over all these departments. And if we get all the departments, whether it's provincial and local level government, through the department and the provincial government, the village recorder, and the health, village health village
World Health Assistant.
health assistance with the Department of Health or PHA. If they all work together, then they all provide the data to the civil registry, and so it reduce cost. So now you all have gone and support the village recorder, but the Department of Health is trying to set up these other officers too. Some of the staffs will be to register that too, and if the registry also set up too, so we have three different government line agency doing almost the same thing. Cost goes up, duplication of responsibility, although they have different function, but they can just share the data. So yes, we want to draw your attention to that so that you all can manage it. Compel you see the registry, they had to come and amend their law to make it compulsory. Now I got it. Civil Identity Registry. So Civil Identity Registry, they have to come and amend the enabling law to make it compulsory for this other government agency to cooperate with them by submitting data. Now, do we have to do that? Now you all funding the, village registrar, but if they're getting it and not submitting to health, then health might say, okay, we'll go and go to Parliament and amend our Act 2 so that we can compel the sharing of data. So you all, have leverage over this department. Who controls the money can controls the, situation. So if you all can raise that with them, it would be very helpful, especially in our terms of reference, trying to build the capacity for our children. You all are the committee members, have other questions or issues?
Yeah, I guess it would be good to compel Treasury to everyone together, because this inquiry has revealed that most of the agencies are working in isolation, and that creates a lot of frustration, especially in the subject of our children. So we need your support to compel everyone to work with each other. I think it's a good point, Chairman.
Yes.
Very, very, very important.
Otherwise, Deputy Secretary and our team, I just want to go back to WASH. Mr. Tanda, when he came, he talked about 20 million last year, 20 million this year. Maybe there are other money that has been spent since 2018. It appears that there is a committee, they are already doing some work, but he was not able to show us or give us a data of how many sort of projects they fund or rolled out around the country. It's still a mystery. He never gave us data last year and data this year, so that's a concern for us. Secondly, we impress on him, myself in particular, that this water is a basic necessity, basic for children, and sanitation too, basic for children, and also basic for our people, including all of us adults. In the city, we all understand this. In the village, we take it for granted because the rivers are nearby. But nowadays, we have problems with our women and girls going to the river. Because now we have all these men who are not, no longer following, traditional and our cultural values and so on. So they are prying on these women and girls. Nowadays, in some parts of our country, it's no longer a good pastime to go and wash clothes or have a bath or, wash all the cooking utensils or even fetch water. And it's mainly women and girls are fetching water. Man, you miss tabla house here. You may also snake now, no got the so we can carry water or something like that. So it's not just a problem for, not just an issue for children, that they need to have access to water and sanitation, but especially water, they need both. But it's equally a issue now for women and girls who traditionally go and fetch water in the river, go and wash out the utensils, go and wash our clothes. But now, in some parts of our country now, it's risky business going down to the river. So what we want to impress on you all, like we impress on Mr. Tanda, is that let's stop this mucking around. Make it a national priority. We can achieve a national outcome where all the villages in Papua New Guinea have access to water and also access to energy source too, like solar or hydropower. We can deliver this to all the villages in Papua New Guinea because most villages in Papua New Guinea, they are near a river. You can just connect the river down to the main villages so the pipe can come in. So the girls want to go to the river to have fun, it's safe, they can go because it's culturally, traditionally part of our life. People have a good time, they go and tell story, go away from men and have a good time. But if it's risky, then water is already in the village. We can deliver this. It's not rocket science. So I want to impress on behalf of our committee this to you all too, because we've impressed it on Mr. Tanda. It seems like national planning is not taking it seriously. They are mucking around. So in your portion in Treasury now, as I said, Secretary, Acting Secretary, whoever controls the money calls the shot. It's the reality. So you all have that power and leverage over all the government departments, including national planning. So we have challenged Mr. Tanda that let's set a timeline, like maybe by 2030 or 2032, we are going to connect all the villages in Papua New Guinea to water, fresh water, so it can provide for the children and provide for the adults and have an option for women and girls too. Because all three of us here are members of the committee of the Gateway Committee, Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment. So we have raised this in that committee too. We are going to take Mr. Tanda against the task on this. We were going to summon him to appear before that committee, but we're just taking advantage of this opportunity we have raised it with him, but we want to raise it with you all too. Let's deliver these basic services to our people. Some things are hard or maybe take some time, and we might progress this in an incremental way. Some things we can do here. We can absolutely do it. And water, I can't see what the problem is. Maybe on the small islands where I originally come from, it might be an issue because there's no river. But nowadays, we can desalinate. So I still think that it's possible if we give ourselves 10 years. 10 years we challenge ourselves. I think we can connect water to all the villages, because I speak with the experience. In the 90s, I've done a number of projects where before we just put a small dam up the stream, connect, what is the pipe? PVC down to the villages, and the water, even though the elevation is low like this, not very steep, but low like this, water still come to the village. And the women and girls in the village, they have a choice. Some still go to the river because it's a timing, they're used to it, it's their, cultural habits or practice in the past, so they want to go to the river. And they probably feel safe, but even in some of this village along the coast, I'm not going to name names, they are risky too. These men are becoming predators of the West type. So, Warakamla village now, on Mamaya, they don't have to go and cut all the water from the river. They can just access it in front of their house or in the village square or something else. So I think we can deliver this in 10 years. So if we could challenge Mr. Tanda and his team, you all use your leverage too. It will help us in terms of our committee here, and three of us too in terms of our other community. Otherwise, I think Secretary, I think unless you all have some other comments to make, I think we will bring our inquiry to an end. Nakat mo toktoka. Okay, on this note, I want to thank you, Acting Secretary, and your other officers for making time to come and acknowledging our committee and respecting our committee. Our committee is a special committee. It's the first time Parliament has set up the committee, but I would like to impress on all of us that it's an important committee. All of us adults now, people like me, we are maybe in the sunset of our life, but the next 50 years belongs to our children. And we know how we have fared in the last 50 years come down. A lot of things that we could achieve, we have not achieved. There's some achievement too we should celebrate and acknowledge, but there's some underachievement and lack of achievement. Yesterday too and this morning too, I impressed on the Deputy Secretary Mr. Y comparing ourselves with a country like Uganda, Acting Secretary and all our officers. Uganda has got a population of 51 million. In their capital city of Kampala, there are 19 million people. But most be here, we are just 1.5 or 1.2, or maybe if we agree with the Minister for Administrative Affairs or whatever, we probably 700,000 member for Northwest, whatever it is. But the country of Uganda, their only main export is coffee. Only now they're beginning to discover oil. So it's absolutely, if they find oil and start drilling oil, they will multiply their revenue. But if we compare our social development index to that country, they are doing better than us. And we are in a much better position in terms of resources and in terms of our ability to generate revenue, and maybe even our revenue might be higher than theirs. I've got to check that side on the revenue side. So I'm just giving you all a perspective on this. It's not the amount of money we have, but how we use it. And if Uganda with the less money, they are using it to achieve great outcome, then what's the excuse for Papua New Guinea? So I'm just highlighting it now to give you all a perspective of our committee. Our committee wants our children to have a much better life than us. The future should be better than ours. The next 50 years must be, see a marked improvement in quality of life, standard of living, in terms of all the indicators of development, literacy, health, education, poverty, we should reduce it, equality, disparity must be, breached, both in terms of economic and also social inequality, like gender equality. We must start to track this so that we are getting there. Everything depends on us now, not our children. The children depends on what we do, what we decided, action we take now. So our committee might be a special committee, just came out that is 50th anniversary of our country, but we are here to be part of the reset. So I want to, on behalf of our committee, leave this impression with you all. Let's push ourselves to see tangible change. What better way to secure the future than with our children? That's why MIPLA determined to make this committee work, and we are here to partner you all. Thank you very much. And with that, I end our session today and also our 2-day session. Thank you, Deputy Acting Secretary and all your staff. Okataline Yublarin staff, all our partners, Pamela too from the NGOs and everyone. It's been a good 2 days with 2 committees. So we should bring it to an end, and I wish you all a good weekend ahead. Thank you. Our committee hearing and now formally ends.